Hey, it's Chris here today from Huckabones Equipment. Today we're going to be talking a little about rotary cutters. We're going to do a little bit of an overview of rotary cutters, then jump right into a demo of it. So stay with us. We're going to start talking about the rotary cutters. When hooking up this rotary cutter, you'll see that it has a quick hitch on the back here, the QH15. Two things to know about that is you're going to go with the floating top link kind of idea up top here, as well as you need bushings for the two lower link arms. Otherwise the unit can pop out on you. So it's nice having the kind of the floating top link here. You'll see it's not just the hook, it's the actual attached by the by two arms there. Again, gives a little bit of flotation whenever you're going over some rough terrain, which hopefully you are with a rotary cutter, because you know there's supposed to knock everything down. And then again, the bushings down low, without them, I've had it pop out. Again, whenever you're going oscillating kind of up and down a hill, it wants to work itself out. So very important to have those two things attached in that certain way to make this function properly using a quick hitch. Not so much quick hitch, using the QH15. It works great hooking it up this way. So this is an RCR1860 Land Pride rotary cutter. You know, we've been very fortunate in the past to sell it Bush Hog as well as Land Pride. Both fantastic cutters. So today's conversation is more just talking about rotary cutters themselves and what this particular unit can do for you. You'll have a few different options when purchasing. Is guarding. You can go rubber front and rear or chains front and rear. You don't see too many chains till you get up to some bigger 2 or 3 inch capacity units. The 18 series goes 60 inch, 72 and 84, all with a 2 inch capacity. And then after that is you're gonna be able to choose which PTO shaft you want. It can be sold with a shear bolt. You're not gonna see too many out there. You're gonna want the slip clutch. Once you get into heavier duty ones, it's gonna come standard with slip clutch. Some of the smaller ones, in Land Pride's case in the 12 series, you're gonna have a choice of either slip clutch or shear bolt. We strongly here at Huckabones recommend having everything with slip clutch, just because whenever you're bouncing around on here and you know bouncing off stones and stumps and stuff, whenever you're using shear bolt, you're going to break the odd one. Again, if you run into a bad afternoon, you might break 2 or 3, and that's going to ruin your day. Whereas a slip clutch, if you look after it really well, you know, you just go out and use it, and then you don't have to have any issues or worrying about shear bolts breaking on you and ruining your afternoon and not letting you use your tractor how you want that day. So yeah, so that's a little bit of a spiel on PTO shafts. Is try and go slip clutch as much as possible so that you get the full use out of a rotary cutter and not spending your day changing shear bolts. They're all going to come with a rear tail wheel. That's where you're going to get your adjustment for your cutting height. Again, it's usually going to come set up in the middle. 9 times out of 10, that's where you're going to leave it. So even at this height, you're going to be about 3-4 inches high, and it will cut up to about 6 or 7. Generally speaking, if you're going to be adjusting quite a bit, is just use your 3-point link lift to make more of your adjustments, especially if you see a stump or a rock. You don't need to come out and adjust your tail wheel. Make life simple on yourself, just use the 3-point hitch to better adjust how you're going to go over obstacles. After that, whenever you are setting up, you're always going to want a little bit of a slope down on your rotary cutter, so the front is riding a little bit lower than the back. That's going to give you the best cut, is doing that, because it kind of sucks up the grass or the alders better than if it's riding flat itself. So all rotary cutters up to 84 inch, you're going to see a single spindle with 2 blades underneath. Those blades are big and heavy. You know, there's should always be a stump jumper to really protect not only the rotary cutter but your unit. So it should always be a stump jumper underneath, this big plate under there. Make sure it has that, because you really want to be able to protect your spindle, your gearbox kind of on top, as well as your tractor. So make sure it has a stump jumper. After that, there's always going to be 2 blades. Thing to know about the blades is they take a while to wear out. They're not very sharp. They're just 2 big heavy pieces of metal kind of spinning around. Some of them provide a little bit better uplift than others, but at the end of the day, the thing to know about the blades is they're heavy, and whenever it comes to replacing them, very time consuming is the best description for that. Yeah, it's not easy to replace blades on a rotary cutter compared to a lawnmower. Same idea, there's just a blade bolt in there. They're in there pretty good, and it's not the easiest thing to replace, is the thing to know about the rotary cutter blades. So when talking about this particular unit, it's an 18 series from Land Pride. You'll see that it has all the bracketry up top here, and right here, that's particular to this series. You can get some flat top units from Land Pride. All that bracketry up here you'll see on top is kind of underneath. Makes it a cleaner appearance, but can gather up some of that stuff underneath. So it's basically more appearance wise which one you want. The flat tops do look better. They're generally speaking a little bit more money, but do the exact same job. With this LX, I got 33 horsepower here. The max I still want to go with 60 inch. You don't want to get really any bigger than that because the next jump up is 72 inch. It gets a little bit much for the tractor even at 33 horsepower. So you kind of want to make sure that you match rotary cutter's width to the actual tractor. If I went to a 72 inch, I wouldn't be able to go to an 18 series. I'd have to go down to the 12 series otherwise I'd be kind of underpowered on that. So to really spin those blades out, and the vibrations might get a little bit much. So matches up perfectly. The reason I have the 18 series is because basically if I can drive over it, I can cut it up. Because with all rotary cutters, you're not supposed to back up into your material that you're looking to cut. Everybody does, but it's not what you're supposed to do. So yeah, so basically if I can drive over with my tractor, I can cut it up with the rotary cutter at a 2-inch capacity. You know, I maintain trails, clear out some areas, so it's important to kind of match your job to to the rotary cutter. Because again, I could go down to the 12 series and cut with that, but it just wouldn't last whenever I'm going over stumps and the small alders that I do cut up. So yeah, so the 18 series matches perfectly with my tractor as well as what I'm looking to do. So that's why I have this this particular rotary cutter. So yeah, so now we're gonna move along to talking about how to properly start your tractor with a rotary cutter on it, and then actually doing a demo here. So yeah, so let's jump right to that. Okay, so when starting your rotary cutter, the first thing you should be doing is obviously checking over your rotary cutter, greasing it and making sure everything's good that way. Then after that, for your tractor is you don't want to be starting it on an idle. Most implements you do start on idle. This one in particular, if you do, more than likely it's going to snuff out your tractor. You're going to want to be at 1500, 1700 RPM. You know, it takes a little bit of horsepower as well as that, you know, you're trying to throw those blades out. More than likely they're kind of folded in, so you want to you know, have that horsepower available to really throw it out, because there is a lot of banging and clanging whenever you start these up, and quite a bit of vibration in the cab or on the tractor itself. So it's best to start it off on idle, and away you go. And we're going to demonstrate both ways, the proper way and the improper way of starting it, where you know, I'm at an idle and you'll feel it just basically bog down the tractor, and if not, shut it off, and then with the RPMs up, starting it up again the proper way. So, and then on the flip side is how to turn off your rotary cutter. It's very, very important to turn off your PTO, but keep your tractor running for 30 seconds or up to a minute. As you know, that inertia, the blade's still spinning, it still wants to keep that PTO spinning. So internally, if you shut that tractor off, you know, the brakes are still trying to function, and it needs oil. So if you've shut it off, there is no oil to be being splashed around there, and you can run into some internal issues on your PTO. So very important to keep it running after the fact. I won't be demonstrating that point. I will show you what it is like after I shut off the PTO. You'll see it continue, the PTO shaft spinning for about 10-15 seconds afterwards. So. So that brings us to the end of today's video. Really hope you enjoyed watching the demonstration of this rotary cutter in action. Nice rough cut there for you to do whatever you want to do after that, whether it's a trail or you're going to put a food plot in next. We'd like to demonstrate a little bit more, but it's monarch butterfly season here, and I've got about 60 acres of milkweed, so we're going to let the little guys do their thing. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And if you have any comments, please leave them down below. Thank you.